Hello, everyone. Welcome to video 3 of our 3-part mini series here to talk about the 9 joy thieves. In video 2, we actually talked about the 5 perceptions, and today we're going to talk about the 4 behaviors that really are stealing your joy from you. So again, I'm Jillian. We've got our girl Bonnie here. Hey, sister, how's it going?
Hello, everybody. So excited to be here and dive into now the behaviors. So just a reminder, what we're doing is we're making some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, right? If we want more joy, that's the jelly. And that means that we need to shift up our peanut butter, which are perceptions and behaviors.
Yeah.
The last videos, if you didn't watch it, go back. Those are the 5 perceptions that are robbing your joy. They're big ones, such as not being enough, lacking, the should bombs, right? So go check those out because those need to be shifted and you might be connected into one of those. But today, in this video, we are talking about the 4 behaviors. Now, these make up the 9 big joy thieves. So, Jillian, do you want to kick off number 1? Let's get right into it.
I see this a lot, and this is so common in the space that not just like the personal development space for those of you that are like, yeah, I'm starting to dabble into this world a little bit, but just the world, right? The number 1 behavior out of these 4 that we're going to talk about today is people pleasing. Any people pleasers out there? Anyone who's fallen into that category before, right? So what is people pleasing? It is literally, energetically, spiritually, physically, all the things, putting what you want, what you need, what you desire over here, making that unimportant so that you can put on the mask that you feel is going to best appease the people in your life. And this one's tricky because people pleasing can show up with different people in different ways. So you could show up and be trying to please your mother in a way different way than you trying to please your boss. But at the end of the day, the underlying energy is that you are choosing behaviors that are putting what you want over to the side, deeming them unimportant, and doing the actions, taking the actions to fulfill what you feel is going to best make the people around you happy.
Yes, absolutely. And this is a big thing, especially as mothers or even women in general, that we get sucked into quite a bit, right? Is that we will sacrifice our needs in order to take care of our children's needs, and know that there are seasons for that, and that's okay. Yeah. Where it becomes out of balance is where we are putting everyone else's needs, and many times it's fueled by this need to feel significant or worthy, or this fear that if I don't, that they're going to leave me, they won't love me, they won't like me. Yeah. And so we show up to every PTA meeting and we volunteer for every single thing, though we don't have the time or resources. Yeah. We are working way over hours with our boss. We're allowing him to violate boundaries because he's asking us to do things on nights and weekends and where we're not able to be at home. Yeah. However it manifests. It is sucking the joy out of us when we're not able, when we don't have the skills to say no. We don't have the skills. It really is just a skill set. And we're going to teach you guys how to do that in our 6-week masterclass program. For right now, if this is a big thing that you want to shift, what you need to do is first figure out, okay, why am I doing it?
Right.
Why? What's the motive? Okay. What am I worried about? Mm-hmm. And if I could take my worth off the line, what would I do instead? Yeah. What would I do instead? And so these are where we can begin to shift. So if you're listening to this and you're a people pleaser, right, we need to take you to Peoplepleasing Anonymous, okay? Right? Like, it's time to go to people pleasing rehab because we need to get out of this behavior so we can recognize that your needs, wants, and desires and dreams matter. They matter because you matter.
Yes, they do. And so grab your journal, right? Like, don't just watch this video and say, okay, like, check that off the box. I did my personal development for today. And like, no, this is like, we're giving you some real keys here to unlocking a lot of the boundness that you feel. So grab your journals and let's get into number 2, because actually, Bonnie, it goes so beautifully with number 1, and you mentioned boundaries. So number 2 is, what are the behaviors you have? You have a lack of boundaries, which means that you are failing to speak your truth. Bonnie, do you want to dig into that a little bit?
love this one. Yeah. And a big part of it is because when we were conditioned as a children that if we stood up for ourselves, if we, set boundaries, that we were being selfish or we being rude or we being disrespectful. And so even as children, actually as children, a lot of times we weren't even allowed to have boundaries where we could just be like, no, mommy, I'm not doing that. Right. Mom's like, tough baloney. I'm the grown up, do it anyways.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying like that's wrong, right? Like, sorry, I know you don't want to do your reading time, but you do need to read so you can be a smart human, right? We're taking away their ability to have this autonomy thinking, right? That I'm an individual, that I am capable. And so where do we learn this? We don't, right? We go from that into college where we still have to follow all of these rules. We have to perform all of these ways. And we still don't really get to say like, no, that doesn't work for me. No, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And then we get into relationships, where we've got his, hers, or hers and hers, or his and his, whatever, like connection, that we still don't know how to say no because we're afraid.
Right.
We're afraid.
Right.
We're afraid of what it looks like. We're afraid of looking bad or mean, or we're afraid of looking stupid. We're afraid that they're not going to love us. We're afraid that they're going to leave us. We're afraid. And so we just suffer in silence.
Mm-hmm.
And we're here to say, this behavior's got to shift.
Yeah.
And being assertive does not mean being aggressive.
But I think the key to that is understanding like what is your truth, and that's a big part of this one. Like, what is your truth? When is the last time you actually asked yourself what you want? Yeah. What feels good and what feels bad, right? Like, where is your boss overstepping boundaries because he's asking you to do X, Y, and Z on the weekend? Where is your significant other overstepping boundaries because you feel like you really want to have this quiet time? I mean, we could give you so many different examples, and to stay in integrity with keeping this video short and sweet for you, we're going to save a lot of that for the 6-week masterclass. But this is just an opportunity for you to just say, okay, where am I letting people bleed into my energy that I just can't do anymore? Like, where do I need to put up a boundary because I am aware that this is a hell yes or this is a hell no?
Where's your mother-in-law crossing the line, right?
Yeah, right.
So much with, when we're blending these spouses, blending families and stuff, is that you've got a mother-in-law, or you've got a mother that maybe is like being a little bit too aggressive versus being assertive. And this is where we want to learn these boundaries. And you could do it in a way with grace. Yes. You could do it in a way with poise and tact, and you could do it in a way of honoring, respecting other people as well. And so my tip around this, right, is that, again, we're going to dive deep in the 6-week challenge. But if your tip for right now is that I follow my 3 rules around boundaries. They need to be clear. They need to be kind. I guess there's 4. They need to be unemotional. Yeah. And then be a request versus a command. Mm-hmm. Okay. Clearly state what it is that you want. Yeah. Kindly say it. Give them the benefit of the doubt that they don't know that they crossed your boundaries. Yeah. Unemotionally, which means that if you're feeling pissed or hurt or angry or shame or guilt, we need to process that and take emotional responsibility before we assert that boundary. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to emotionally vomit all over that person, and that's not cool. Okay. And then lastly, it's a request versus a command. A lot of times we think boundaries are the line in the sand, do not cross. And we forget that they're not walls and that they're meant to be negotiated. Okay. That you have your way, they have their way, and then you need to try to find an our way. Yeah. There's certain things that are no trespassing signs, right? Like if you come up to in my presence, you try to punch me in the face, right? Like I'm not kidding. Like there's a boundary there. Like not cool. An option. Not cool. All right. However, when it comes to emotional boundaries, mental boundaries, these have got to be negotiated, right? You have different preferences than I do. I don't know yours, and most people aren't trying to disrespect. So that's what we want to make sure to start shifting around. That is that, a lot of times we don't assert boundaries until we've got pushed too far. And then it's just like, screw you, I'm done. And we're like, boom. And we just slam them, and it turns into this huge confrontation. So, or you do the opposite, which is number 3. Okay. So if you're pen and paper ready, we're diving into the next one, which is you just
Say that again, Bonnie, because
You just procrastinate and
that's
avoid.
procrastinate. Yep.
Glitched out. Yeah, I said, or you just procrastinate and avoid, and you don't deal with it, and you suffer even more in silence.
Yeah.
What do you want to say on this one, Jillian?
This one, I mean, I can really relate, and I've spoken with a lot of women, a lot of my clients, just you can just witness it in today's day and age. But procrastination, avoidance, and what is this? It's self-sabotage, right? So we see the things that we want to do, we claim we want to do, but for some reason we're not willing to actually do the thing, and we'll come up with every single way to avoid doing it.
Yes.
So what is that actually saying? I'm interested in the root of that. Why are you avoiding doing the thing that you say you really want to do and would move the needle forward for you? A lot of times there's underlying layers of, I'm not worthy enough to do this. I don't believe that I can do this. A lot of perceptions get hidden underneath the behavior of procrastination and avoidance. So this one's a big one to really dig in and around. But for you watching today with this beautiful, just like, gift of emotion and knowledge to you, where are you putting things off? Where and are the things that you're putting off being done because you really don't want to do the thing, or are they being put off because of another underlying feeling? Fear of not accomplishing it correctly, fear that you're not worthy of doing it, so why bother starting anyway? What's underneath that? What are you avoiding that if you just got it done, it would feel so fulfilling? Why are you robbing yourself the opportunity to feel that joy on the other end of completion by avoiding it? Like, what's happening? Because we do not think that you are a human being that simply is going to sit here and make the conscious choice of, I really want to do that, but I'm going to sit here because I'm going to find more joy in sitting here. No, we know that there's something else happening underneath it. And oftentimes it's a lot simpler. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy to release, which is why we do the deeper work, but it's a lot simpler than what your mind is telling you that it is. And so it's for us, we're like, why are we procrastinating? Why are we avoiding? Why are we like actually self-sabotaging? There are underlying reasons to that. Anything else to add, BK?
You know, I would just say, just remind yourself that procrastination and avoidance is a result. It's a result. So it's the end of the line of what is going on in the inner world. It's an outward expression of the inward issue. So we need to dive in, right? What are your thoughts and feelings? What are you afraid of? Like, what's going on in the inner world to drive this behavior? Because if you want to shift the behavior, we need to shift the inner world. And so this is where, like we were saying, that the behaviors are connected in to a lot of the perceptions that we have as well.
Totally.
So this is like indication. This is something that needs to shift, because if you're procrastinating and avoiding, you are robbing yourself of joy. And one of the reasons why this could be happening actually leads us into the fourth behavior, that we could be in avoidance of addressing something or dealing with something because we are too busy comparing ourselves, and the comparison trap leads us to feeling less than, right? Or that we're missing something, or that we're just not as talented or far along, or they've already cornered the market in this, right?
Yes.
But this is what will get us to procrastinate, is like when we get sucked into that comparison, which is number 4, and we're comparing ourselves to others, and we're seeing all the lack, and we're feeling less than, and we're feeling inadequate, and it triggers all of our inner perception issues. Then that's going to lead us down to avoidance, and we're just not going to take the action. We're not going to reach out. We're not going to ask, we're not going to try to get new clients. We're not going to ask for support or help, right? We're not going to go for our dreams. We're not going to say no. A lot of that is because we're judging ourselves in media as a weapon to judge, to validate our inadequacies.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, what do you want to say on that one?
I just that it can be, comparison can really catch us in even just the simplest day-to-day moments of life, right? Like, you see a friend post a picture on Facebook and you're like, well, my house is never going to look like that. So why bother trying to clean it? Or like, why is my family so screwed up and hers is so put together, right? Like, so we tell ourselves stories of how other people's lives must look based on what they share on social media. And the fact is, there is nothing there besides a picture. We don't know their story. We don't know their situation. We don't know what hurt they're feeling. And this picture is either trying to relieve for them or trying to assuage for them. We don't know any of that. We just see the picture and we apply it to how we're failing in life.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be pictures either, because I know a lot of you, maybe you're at the gym and you just had a baby 6 months ago, and you know that the other girl on the treadmill next to you has had a baby 6 months ago and she's lost all her baby weight and you haven't. And then you're just totally sucked into this, like, well, she's so much better than I, or she's skinnier, that this means I must be lazy, fat, ugly, whatever it is, right? And recognizing that you can't compare apples to apples. Who knows what her metabolism's like? Who knows if she's struggling with an eating disorder or not? Who knows like what is going on in her world or why her body has shifted that and yours hasn't? But it's not like when we're stuck in this, like, well, I need to be like everyone else, we forget that you are perfect and unique, and there's no one on this planet like you. I always joke, species, right? It is like population 1 and it's you. And once you're gone, that's it for the you-ness. Like that's the end of that species. It's gone, right? And so we want to really start to treasure and honor that and look for ways that we're beginning to build ourselves up and, recognize that we're not like everyone else. So again, if you want to work through this, like in depth, is our 6-week Awaken Your Joy Masterclass, starts November 4th. We invite you to join us. There's a link that you can sign up for. It's connected to all these videos. You guys, it's in your inboxes. It's everywhere. I mean, if you're watching us, it's there. Just click it.
And click it and come on over and make this big, brave leap into trusting that you deserve to live a life with a standard of joy, and that the mediocrity is not what you signed up for, and that these perceptions and behaviors can be changed. They can be shifted. You are not destined to have this horrible life where your behaviors are always self-sabotage and your perceptions are always that I never have enough. This is not your destiny. And we're here having this conversation with you to remind you that you get to choose, and that we see you in your wholeness, and we've got the tools to teach you. And we feel it's our responsibility when we know things, when we've experienced things, because Bonnie and I have both, in our own different versions, experienced deep, deep, deep levels of the thieves coming and sucking the joy right out of us. And so we just happen to have compiled what we know to be truth in how to help you reclaim your joy. And that brings us the greatest amount of joy, because we're fulfilling, going back to the first video, we are fulfilling what was literally and energetically created just for us. There is no other rebels for joy, anything, anywhere. This is for us to invite you into. So
this is your
join
rebellion.
us. This is for you.
This is your rebellion. It's not about us. This is about us all coming together, locking arm in arm and saying that, you know what, no more are we going to live in a world where joy is not the standard, right? It's like, I want my children and my children's children to grow up in a joyful world. And that is not what we have in present day, because it's not been a standard. The standard has been people pleasing. The standard has been feeling not enough. The standard has been focused on lack. The standard has been to be stuck in fear. It has not been in this state of, conscious creation. It's not in this place of taking our purpose, passion, and power and putting it in our lap and saying that I have the ability to change these things. And that's what we're going to do. And that's what we're working together. So I know you, sister. I know that you are a part of this rebellion. I know that you've been waiting for this movement, right? So you're a part of the emotional revolution. We are changing the world together. So join us. Click in. Let's get going. Let's do the work to evolve and change. But for everyone around you, because it's ripple effect, girlfriend.
Oh, we love you so much. We'll see you on Monday. For those of you that join in, we just were so honored. And go ahead and tag on social media and celebrate that, like, you're doing this for you, right?
Yes.
Early holiday gift to you, early soul gift to you. No, not early soul gift, timely, exactly divinely timed soul gift to yourself. We're so excited to join.
And what's fun? Yeah, and what's fun too is that if you join the Rebels for Joy community, like on Instagram, every Friday we do a Spread the Joy challenge. And that's just designed to just bring more joy into people's life. It's a gratitude challenge. That's all we do is we tag people and say like, I'm thankful for you, I'm thankful for you, I'm thankful for you, because all that is doing is ripple effect. I love watching the comments on there, don't you?
It's
Right,
like,
that are just like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Oh, how sweet. And you're like, yeah, you just infected that person with joy. So we do it every week, and we challenge you to join us and do it with us, right? Because we can only change the world one person at a time, but together we can change the world at thousands of people at a time. So let's lock arms, girl, and let's get it done. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Mwah!